John, did we talk about just, teeing this up for the group, the catalyst of this meeting and how it came together? Did you share that before I logged on this morning?
I did not. Do you want to take that away?
Sure. I think, as many of you know, the Greater Reading Chamber Alliance has fantastic resources. I stumbled into this resource back in February, and as I started talking to Derek, I was like, this is very timely. We really need to know more about this, and I'm sure Derek will talk about his expanded role at the chamber, but having involvement in the Economic Development Corporation of Lancaster and benefiting tremendously from their knowledge center that they've created around data for economic data for the region. They had prepared some data for the Greater Reading Chamber, but piggybacking off of that, and I'm kind of skipping around here, I realized what a phenomenal resource we had at the chamber in Derek and the information that he's pulling together. And it's been a long time since we've looked at these resources. Sean, can you mute your phone? You're providing a lot of background noise.
Yeah, here.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a plane going over.
And anyway, I thought it was a very timely meeting for us to have. Whether you're an affiliate member or a realtor member, there's a lot of information that can be cultivated from this website. So with that, I'll turn it over to Derek and Erin. Thank you.
All right. So thank you for the introduction and background, Kirsten. Yeah, so we had a conversation back in February going over some of the capabilities of some of the data tools that we have at the chamber. And I wanted to give an overview of some of those that are more suited and interesting to the folks in commercial real estate and some of the affiliated partners. So one of the new websites that we had launched not too long ago was selectgreaterreading.com. This is our outward facing website for economic development. And I'll let Erin go over some of the background of this, because this is something she's really started to helm up in her new role.
Thanks, Derek. Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Gantz. I'm the Senior Director of Economic Development at the Chamber Alliance. And in early January, we launched an economic development marketing campaign where we are highlighting Greater Reading, Pennsylvania as a location that also has a lower cost of doing business with a great workforce. So a lot of this work we've always been doing, but all of it's now hosted at selectgreaterreading.com. It includes information about site location decision-making, workforce, a lot of the data and demographics that Derek is going to share. The tools and resources we have at our disposal is now part of our marketing, our community as a choice location. So if you have time, take a look at that. We're always adding new content. It's really digitally focused. So anything we're doing in terms of marketing Greater Reading, either internally or externally, it's now pointing to selectgreaterreading.com. Thanks, Derek.
All right. So to build off of that, I'm going to go over some of the information that's available that's interesting to this audience. So built into Select Greater Reading is a GIS platform that we use. It has its own freestanding URL and domain as GreaterReadingSites.com, and some of you might be familiar with that. And that still exists, but that's on both GreaterReadingSites.com as well as built into Select Greater Reading. And some of the information that's available, no login, free, easy to access. You can do it by property, community, county-wide, pinpoint, anything like that. Is occupation data, demographics, just specific or overall if you're looking for information about the makeup of that community or where a property you have is located. Labor force and wages is a big one for a lot of companies that are looking to move or expand or find a new location. Labor force is one of their biggest driving motives right now. So having access to that labor force data of you're able to access drive times, number of people in that field that are already employed or are currently unemployed, as well as some of the wage information of what some of the average wages are. In addition to that, for the more retail side of commercial real estate, consumer expenditures, figuring out what people are spending, what the average, the average money families are spending in an area, so you can compare that to communities in and around Berks. Obviously, places like Wyomissing or West Reading, restaurant expenditures are going to be a lot higher than some of the other areas of the county, and that's part of the reason why we have so many restaurants there. It's a popular area as well, and also just businesses. The businesses one is one we'll take a look at as well later, but it gives you an idea of the businesses that are surrounding your property. It'll show you all the businesses around there by category, number of employees. If they have reported income, it'll have reported income. So if you're looking to figure out who are some of the big companies or big businesses around the property that you have to kind of highlight and advertise that, you're able to see that without having to go to Google Maps and just kind of scroll around and search around. So what are the benefits of this? The GIS tool that we use for the property database links directly to Pennsylvania's Governor's Action Team site selection tool at pasitesearch.com. So when the Governor's Action Team gets projects or requests from companies in-state, out-of-state, internationally, this is one of the first places they go to look. If someone says, hey, I want a 100,000 square foot building and is working with the Governor's Action Team, they type it in and it will list all of the 100,000 square foot buildings that are uploaded to this platform across the entire state. So that's one of the reasons we use this platform. It gets us access to those large searches. There's other GIS platforms and other platforms that are, better or nicer, but the state doesn't use them, so we don't. And that's the big draw for this for us internally, making sure we're lock and step with the state. So when we're looking and sharing properties with them, those properties are showing up in their statewide searches as well. And this is the first thing we use when we get projects in from the state. If I get a project in and they're looking for a 75,000 square foot building, well, I may know some of them because I enter them all and deal with that, on a fairly frequent basis. I'm going on this and looking at it on the front end to figure out what do we have, filter some things out, what properties meet those specs, and only after then am I, going to look at other areas like LoopNet, Crexy, some of the other ones, because when we get a lot of these in, to look at 5 or 6 different platforms where properties are hosted or wherever, it's hard to keep track of all that. So this is the one tool that I like, that I'm able to just, I enter all the information, whatever comes up, I'm able to use, submit, get nice printouts of for them. And the data packages that come out of this platform, you can take and download yourself and you can add to your own listings. So you can go in, and if your property is listed or whatever, or even if it isn't, you can do the pinpoint and you can pull all of the data of the demographics, the businesses, all that stuff around it, and put that into part of your presentation, your packet that you have listed on any other sites or ones that you print out to take to clients. So this is on the right here is a picture of what GreaterReadingSites looks like, and this is the GIS platform. We'll be hopping into that, and I'll just give you a brief overview and some examples of what I've been talking about. But GreaterReadingSites is the direct link to our property database. Like I said before, it's available through selectgreaterreading.com, but it also has its own freestanding website. All the information available there, you can download. It's free. You can send me any properties. I'll upload them. It's free. I don't make commission. I don't charge for any of this stuff. The more properties that are in it, the better, because it's a more robust platform and gets more people using it. And twice a month, we highlight properties that are listed on GreaterReadingSites in some of our newsletters. So we'll take whether it's a new property, if there's been updates, or if it's a specialty property or something that I find different, is a unique property. We'll highlight in our newsletters. Just free marketing is always good marketing. Sharing it with a couple thousand people and sending it out is never a bad thing. And like I said before, we aggregate from MLS, LoopNet, Crexy, all these different things and put them onto this platform. So we're able to access and see these things in one area.
And Derek, just to clarify for people who might watch this recording later, you don't need to be a GRCA, you don't need to be a chamber member, you don't need to be a member of any of the GRCA organizations to use this service, correct?
Correct. This is part of the economic development piece that is funded by the County of Berks and the commissioners. So this is part of the economic development initiative that we have to help attract companies, expand businesses that are here already. And this is just one of the tools that we use to do that.
Thank you.
Yep, no membership, no cost to anyone. I have my contact info on the last slide if anyone wants to reach out, but I'm gonna hop in and show you one of the, let me change my screen quick. What some of it looks like online, so you have an idea of what you're looking at or looking for. All right, so this is GreaterReadingSites.com. This is what it looks like when you type in the URL and hop on. On the right side, it has where the sites are located throughout the county, and the little dig, little shovel and stuff is a site. The blue stuff is buildings. We put both up. If you have a spec for a site, we'll put the land and that building spec up. Pretty flexible. I mean, most commercial properties will list. There's some small retail stuff of less than 1,000 square feet that we sometimes don't list, just because that's not what a lot of people are looking for the audience that use this. But for the most part, we put up pretty much anything. But this is what the platform looks like. So there's we cycle through these, but there's the featured ones are up top, and you can see gives you the square footage, the minimum size available, maximum size available, if it was recently updated, pictures, the address, city, all that. And if you click view details, it'll take you to it'll show you the photos of it, and you can scroll down and you can see all of the info that's input. There's a boatload of fields in the back end of everything from, how many docks are there? What are the size? What's the column spacing? So as much info as you have, we can put up. If you've just got, square foot and picture, we can put that up too. It really depends. And I mean, it's different for different buildings. If you have a $20 million building sitting up on 78, you're probably going to want column spacing, dock, all the loading docks and all that information that's available, distance to highway and interstate. But if you have a small office building available, you're not going to have that type of information. There's other stuff that people are going to be looking at, but you can see all the information that's put through, and you're also able to attach documents to it. So if you click on the documents, it'll allow you to download that document. So this is the document that is provided by the broker or whoever the listing agent is, and you're able to see that information. If you don't have a document, you can create a PDF of this information, and you can name the report and download it. So if we put all that info in, but you don't have, you know, a nice made up flyer or anything for it, you can generate one directly from here on the front end of the website. So like how Lupna has a marketing center for the back end, it's very similar, but it's on the front end for this. You can share this with other people, or you can just print it out. But to get into some of the data and stuff that'd be interesting to this audience, you can see this is the property report. So we're on 645 Penn Street right now, which is right in downtown Reading. It's, you know, 25 feet away from me right now. But you can click through these different fields that we have at the top. So there's occupation data. So if you click on that, it'll show you you can do drive time in minutes, or you can do a circle for miles. And it'll show you the management occupations, any of this stuff, and you can see the annual, hourly, or the jobs available in each of these specific fields. So if you're looking for this information, you can click and highlight this, and it'll show you the range in salaries for these people in the surrounding region. And you're also able to do that with the number of jobs. So if you're looking for, you know, office space and downtown stuff, you can see, oh, well, yeah, of course, downtown West Reading, why missing is going to have a much higher concentration of these positions than some of the other areas in the county. But you're able to do that for any of them. There's this little slider that you can click on, and it'll show you color coded by geographical area for occupation data. Looking at demographics, similar thing. You can see age distribution. You can do a 5-year projection up to 2025. There's ethnicity, race, households, household income distribution, labor force status, total number of housing with owner occupied, renter occupied. A lot of this is census data. So you're able to apply it to a map of Berks County or a specific pin drop of a location that you have property at. You're able to download, share, print, make an Excel document of this as well. So if you go, oh, wow, that's great information I want for my own flyer, you're able to go in here and you're able to make a PDF of that information, and it puts it in a printable form and gives you all that information for that specific area. It'll tell you 10-mile radius around 645 Penn Street and have the address of the property. Labor force, same thing. This is one of the ones that's a bit more interesting, just because this is getting to where some of this information is usually more proprietary programs that you have to pay for or very expensive. But you can see establishments by size. You can see all the small businesses, and you can zoom in and get into like census block level stuff. So really specific stuff of establishments. You can do it by type, and further down by NAICS code. So if you're familiar with NAICS codes, you're able to pull up, hey, how many restaurants are around this restaurant property that I bought? Oh, there's 15 in a, you know, in a 2-block radius. Okay, maybe not the, you know, not the best spot for a restaurant right now. But you're also able to see the total employees by occupation. So if you're looking for, you know, selling a property as a great spot for warehousing, you can see how many warehousing employees, like transportation and material moving workers, are in that specific area. And you can look to see if there's other businesses that already provide that service or if there's not. Consumer expenditures they're helpful when you're looking at, you know, restaurants, retail, stuff like that, to see what disposable income these people have in this community. So if you're looking to attract people there as a point of destination, or if it to be you know, used in the community, getting an idea of what disposable income people have for all sorts of different things broken down by household. It's just another level of information you're able to access that helps, validate your building to a client or something like that. And this is kind of the fancy and nice information that you don't, a lot of people won't typically have access to, but you have access to because it's free and you know about it. Wages, you can see wages by breakdown. So if you're looking for, office space, you're advertising statewide or across state lines or something like that, trying to get companies to come in, you can compare our wages directly to them through things like this. For office workers, I know for call centers that's popular. They really like having a lot of this information, and we get a lot of requests for call centers. Businesses, if you're looking to figure out who's your neighbor by your property, well, you can certainly find out. You can see all the businesses that are surrounding this property. Zoom out a little bit. And you can click on all of them and it'll tell you sales, employees, their website, the name of them, their address. So you can click all on or all off and figure out if you're a restaurant that you're trying to get people in, how many restaurants are around you, if their sales are reported, what their sales are, to have an idea of what the market really looks like on a much more detailed level. And same goes for talent. Talent's, I don't know, talent's a less useful thing locally because it's such a large region. It pulls all the schools in from the surrounding areas and will show you the degrees conferred by each category, and you can break that down by school and stuff and the top universities. But that's more of like the economic development, site selector stuff, and less so just commercial real estate in general. But that's an overview of some of the information that you have access to for specific properties that you're able to just hop online and access easily. Does anyone have any questions about anything so far?
Actually, Derek, sorry, I was on a phone call that I had to jump off there for a while, but this is awesome data, and a lot of it, where is it actually being fed from?
So this is coming from GIS planning, which is a large, I'm trying to see if they have all the specific info at the bottom. So yeah, GIS planning is the back-end platform, but all the information, the sources vary. For like demographics and stuff, that's census-based. For consumer expenditures, that's also census and American Community Survey. So it depends on the specific data sort for the specific category, but a lot of it's census information. Some of the other stuff, like businesses, gets into the more proprietary area. And it says it's a service of Financial Times. So whatever Financial Times, I can go back and pull some of the sources from that. But that's the data provider for GIS planning. That's aggregating this data and allowing them to populate and push through for this, like micro level.
Derek, I have a question. So 100% of my properties I populate on LoopNet.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean 100% of my properties will auto-populate into your system?
No, I do them all manually.
God bless you.
Yeah. So there is a platform we've been looking at that allows them to automatically filter through. We're still in the process of figuring out how that works, what the costs and fees associated with that are. But yeah, my biggest thing is I like to reach out to brokers and say, hey, if you have a property, just send it to me. I'll post it. I usually do a posting once or twice a week, just so it's not every single, I get one in here and then upload it. I track the listings and the updates in CREXI. I think we have 97 or 98 properties listed right now. And yeah, I mean, we post almost all commercial properties. If they're owner occupied or leased and, being rented out or sold for cap rate, I usually don't post those because our audience is mainly looking for properties that they can occupy. But other than that, pretty much anything that you've got, feel free to send to me, and I'll post or update it on here. But yeah, it's a good tool, and the more people that use it, the better it is. In the last year or so, I think we've had 100,000 searches. I'm trying to remember what the numbers I pulled from the back end were, but there's a couple thousand people that visit or do searches a month.
I have a second question now. It may sound like I'm going off on a tangent, but it could provide value to our commercial brokers. Derek, do you see people, the Berks broker community, using CREXI?
Yeah, I've actually got I went through and downloaded all the properties available that were commercial, and I went through and filtered through them. I think I added 25 or 30 that I updated and changed from CREXI. I like LoopNet more than CREXI just because I'm more familiar with LoopNet. And we have properties that we list on LoopNet occasionally. I'm more comfortable with LoopNet, but I'm not a broker, so I don't know what the other the fees and stuff associated with CREXI are. But I've definitely seen people using it more frequently now than in the last year or so. So I don't know if people are just tired of paying a lot of money for boosting on LoopNet and want to switch to CREXI, because I mean, LoopNet can get pretty, if you're paying for, silver, gold, platinum listings for 4, 5, 6 properties, it's a pretty big bill a month. But yeah, I mean, LoopNet, I feel like still is the kind of the gold standard of what gets the eyes on the properties. And that's usually other than here, that's my first external site that I look at.
Thanks, Derek.
Any other questions? So the only other thing I would have other than this is some of the other data I have access to. Now this is like a login account that I use, but if there's any information you're ever looking for, that's industry specific, that's specific, like how many jobs are being posted, what are people trying to pay right now. I've got a tenant that, they can't find people, like, can you help me out with that? I do a lot of that too, pulling information for wages, jobs. And one of the reports that I share and send off for almost all the projects I submit is this economic overview report. It's got as much information as you want. It's a great, let me see if you guys can see this. There we go. So this report packages it nicely, puts it in, it looks professional, but it's like click of a button generates a report. It gives you the unemployment rate, wage trends, cost of living, snapshot of all the industries, GDP, all of that in one report. So when people are looking for, they want more information than, just how many people live in Berks County or whatever. This is one of the reports that we'll have on selectGreaterReading.com that you can just click and download. I'll be updating it every couple weeks. There's some stuff that changes, some stuff's monthly, some stuff's quarterly, some's yearly, just depends on the specific information. but this gives you everything you could ever want in a report about basically anything about Berks County. It gives you the rental vacancies for housing, employment trends, unemployment rate. So all that information, if someone's ever looking for that, you can give them, you know, a nice single report, and it's got all of that information they need. And this is one of the things we'll have posted online. That will be free for you to download and use. And if you need a more updated version or have any questions or want something specific for you, or for one of your properties, just let me know. I can pull that information for you, and we can work and figure out what works best for you. But that's what I got for you guys today. I can share that presentation if you want, but I can send out my contact info if you need to get a hold of me or want to send any properties to me to list. Like CJ, the property that you were talking about earlier, I definitely want to post that because you can never have too many special buildings in Leesport. It seems to be pretty hot right now. So,
Derek, I have a quick question. Do you have anything on the Google Analytics of the site? You said you're getting a lot of click-throughs. Are you able to see what markets they're coming from, what areas of interest for the site, what are the greatest areas of interest for the site, all of that?
For the GreaterReadingSites, I'm able to see a breakdown more so by size and properties. That one doesn't have specifically Google Analytics because it's like iframed in, so it's not like our site. On Select Greater Reading, we have all that info and stuff, so we can see where people are coming from. But we're able to see what the most popular size of buildings people search for, land size, how many people are searching for those things, and other filters that they're enabling or other things that they're looking for. But pairing that with the information we get from the state of what properties are being pursued or looked for from the state. I mean, the 100,000 square foot buildings right now and 50,000 square foot cold storage. That's number 1 and 2 of the hottest buildings. So if you could build one of those every week, go for it. But you know, the turnaround time's a little long, but that's those are the 2 biggest things we see companies looking for. But yeah, for specific site stuff, it doesn't get as specific as a LoopNet would of like specific leads, because that's more of the sales side. And that's part of what you're paying for LoopNet and things like that. They're really good at that.
Question is not so much about the presentation, but just encouraging you to share, Derek, as your role has evolved with GRCA, to talk about maybe other initiatives that you're involved in your data coordination research role that may be helpful for this group. And maybe you don't have anything to add, but I wanted to take the opportunity to ask.
Yeah, anything economic development right now, Aaron and I are the ones that do all of the submissions for state projects. We're also doing the first round of CHIRP applications closed for the COVID grant for hospitality and restaurants. So if any of you have any occupied units or that you have recently transacted that are restaurants that you don't know if they've applied or they, you know, could apply. At some point, there will be a wave 2 for CHIRP later this month. It's grant, so it's free money, $5,000 to $50,000, depending on their revenue in 2019. But that's something that's definitely good to share to partners that you have. We had a lot of submissions, but we have a lot of money to give out, so there's still going to be money left in that bucket. But that's one of the big things that we're working on right now, as we roll into the beginning of Q2. And other than that, economic development stuff has been picking up. It was, it was slow last year for obvious reasons. People didn't want to buy large buildings and try and open shop, but I think we've gotten about 10 or 12 state projects so far in this year. And that'll probably put us on pace for 40 or 50 this year. And you never know what they're looking for, but it only takes one.